Your Buccos are 0-3. A-Rod's hitting homers, and Verlander's on the DL for the first time in his career. It's a weird start to the season.
It's a weak start to the season.
Welcome to the Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? Let's proclaim the greatest radio show.
Welcome, fans, to another great episode of The Spread. I'm your host, Jim Sella, in studio with J-Dash and JK47. We're starting a new segment today, Extra Bases, our weekly baseball review. This is right up Dash's alley. He loves baseball and hates everything else in the world, so you'll hear a lot of him on these segments.
Unfortunately, until my contract's up.
The fans love you. You're the personality of The Spread. Big Easy's going to be off for a while because he's golfing. He's abandoned us on The Spread.
Well, he's beat.
Him and Johnny Parlay, they both abandoned us.
5 down to 3.
Brutal.
More room in here, though. That's nice.
I know. Not as much heavy breathing. Let's get into this segment so people don't tune out.
Yeah, we're going to go over hot and cold hitters, hot and cold pitchers.
Couple prospects.
Yeah, we'll do that last. We're going to go over some weekly notes, the DL, and then finish up with the prospects.
We know what the lead story on the DL is. I gave it in the teaser.
Please believe. Let's start off with hot hitters, though.
Adrian Gonzalez, J-Dash.
Oh,
10 for 13, 5 home runs, 7 RBI, 7 runs scored, and 2 doubles. So, I mean, that's 7 extra base hits.
Yeah, it's
And
ridiculous.
13 at-bats.
He set a record already with 5 jacks in his first 3 games. Had 3 the third game.
Yes, sir. And he's also driven in a run with 6 consecutive plate appearances. The longest such streak since 1999 when Jermaine Dye hitting 7
Good old
consecutive
Jermaine Dye.
He was a
plate
bucko.
appearances.
No, he wasn't. But yeah, Adrian Gonzalez is off to the hottest start of anybody.
Just smoking the ball. And he had a little bit of an iffy spring, too. A little bit of a slow start for him. So, I mean, it's nice to see him swinging the bat again.
Again, spring doesn't matter, as you can see. But neither does the first series. He's not going to hit over 250 home runs this season.
Be very interesting if he did, though, wouldn't it?
It would be ridiculous.
I want him tested for steroids.
Listen, he needs to be one of the better hitters. He needs to be a leader for the Dodgers this season. They got rid of some guys. They're bringing new guys in. He's been a consistent piece for this team. He needs to be a leader on this team this season.
And that he will. I mean, he plays great defense, too. So, I mean,
He's always on the field.
been the model of consistency pretty much throughout his career.
Please believe. Another guy I want to talk about here is Billy Hamilton. We were talking about it in the Pirates segment. This guy was all over the place against the Pirates. They couldn't keep him off the bases. When he got to first, he was automatically on third in a couple minutes. 6 stolen bases. He went 4 for 12, scored 4 runs, played great defense. This guy looks like he's going to be one of the better players in baseball very soon.
Well, I'm definitely impressed. I mean, the defense was excellent from him also.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This guy looks like he improved in many different ways from last season. He actually got caught stealing a lot last season. He's already has 6 stolen bases, hasn't got caught stealing yet. 4 for 12 is a nice start. He already took a walk. Everything looks improved from Billy Hamilton from his rookie season.
Next guy I want to talk about is Nolan Arenado. You know, he's off to a 6 for 13 start with a home run and 5 RBI. He's added 5 runs, and he also added 3 doubles as well. I mean, this is a guy I'm very high on personally. I think this guy's going to be a star pretty soon.
He's already probably the best defensive third baseman in baseball. He had a good season with the bat last year. He's still young. You could tell he's still improving, too. He's going to have a big year for Colorado. And Colorado altogether, Tulowitzki, Corey Dickerson, they're all hitting the ball well.
Tulowitzki went 6 for 14 so far this year with 2 RBI, 4 runs, 4 doubles, only 1 K. Injury plagued a little bit last year, so he's got to try to stay on the field this year if he wants to keep doing it. But, I mean, the dude's a beast when he's out there, so if he's on the field,
Colorado,
good.
More than anything, needs him to stay on the field. He's a leader for this team.
And the Rays don't need him to stay on the field.
The Rays?
Yeah, you said Colorado more than anyone. Nobody other than Colorado needs him to stay on the field.
Well, you were saying he needs to stay on the field for himself. I think more than anything, he needs to stay on the field for the team because this team isn't going to win crap without him.
You hate everybody in Colorado anyway. You say they're cheaters because they play in thin air.
Like I said, Corey Dickerson, he's 5 for 12 with 2 jacks, 6 RBIs. Carlos Gonzalez is 5 for 13 with the jack and 4 RBIs, 3 doubles. All Colorado pretty much outside of Morneau is hitting pretty well. But other guys that are hot right now, J.D. Martinez, Travis d'Arnaud, Joey Votto, Todd Frazier, Howie Kendrick, Salvador Perez is hitting the ball right now. And Anthony Ghost, this rookie, he started the season 6 for 11, 4 runs, 3 RBIs, a double, a triple, and a stolen base. So he's looking hot. He looked good in the spring. It looks like he's just moving forward. And then Adam Lynn, 6 for 10, a home run, 2 RBIs, a run, 2 doubles, and 3 walks. He's looking good as Milwaukee's first baseman. Just like the Pirates, Milwaukee's had a lot of trouble finding a first baseman in the past.
Well, ever since Prince Fielder left anyway.
Yeah, he was pretty much their only one. They've been looking for a first baseman since.
It's nice to see Salvador Perez off to a nice start, because Kansas City's going to need him this year.
Yeah, home run and 4 RBIs already, 5 for 11. Nice start from him. And he's one of the better defensive catchers in baseball. Still young, too, so he can improve. Let's move on to a couple cold hitters now. Anybody you want to talk about first?
Marte is garbage.
Starling Marte, 1 for 13 with a run and 7 Ks.
He's
That
had
hurts.
problems striking out in his career before. So
Not that bad, though. So, yeah, something's off with him. Some timing's off. Remember, he had a bad start to the
he
season
got
last
benched
year.
last year at one
Yeah,
point.
it was after a concussion. They tried to make it look like that, but he was actually benched for a little bit. But he came back and was one of the best hitters in baseball. Looks like the same thing might happen here, but it's still early. I think he can turn it around still.
When you're a 45-year-old third-year player, I don't know. It's tough.
Well, how about Jose Bautista going 0 for 12 with 8 strikeouts?
Yeah, what's up with that? That's real surprising to me because he really doesn't have the strikeout problems that bad. Something's off with him too. But listen, he's older now, so maybe he's starting to tell off a little bit. I don't think he's that bad. I mean, it's still Bautista. Yeah, it still has a ton of power, but
The roids took their toll.
possibly, man, possibly. What about Evan Gattis too? You were talking high on him, so was I. 0 for 11 with 8 Ks. 4 Ks in each of the past 2 games.
It was a rough start for those Houston hitters down there, J-Dash.
Yeah, they look bad. I was saying they would look
single
better
one
this
of them.
season. The first series, they looked horrible.
Gaddis and Chris Carter, a combined 0 for 22 with 12 strikeouts between the two of them.
That's solid.
Yeah. You know what, though? Chris Carter, this is a guy I expected from. He's going to have streaks where he's going to go 0 for 20 with 10, 15 Ks, and then he's going to pound the ball for a week.
Congratulations, you have a Pedro Alvarez.
Believe it. What about Puig? He's only 1 for 12, 1 run, 1 RBI, 4 Ks for that guy.
He'll get it going.
Yeah, Andy caught stealing. And this is a guy you don't really want to worry about too much. He's one of the best players in baseball, but it is a slow start for him.
Well, the slow start that surprises me is the one from Jonathan Lucroy. Starting 0 for 12, grounded into 2 double plays.
Yeah, nothing from him so far. He's supposed to be one of the best, if not the best hitting catcher in baseball, outside of Posey maybe. So he got to get it going.
Squat right now.
And you know what? They want to play him at first base when he doesn't catch, but like we said, Adam Lean is hitting the ball well right now. Lucroy's struggling, so it's going to be tough to sit Lean and play Lucroy.
If you ain't hitting, you ain't playing, homie.
Justin Morneau's off to a slow start. That's the one Colorado hitter that is. And 1 for 13, no runs, no RBIs. This is the batting champ from last season.
Yeah, don't be hating on him.
I don't
like
think he's
Morneau.
going to have the same season. He's better than this, though. He's not going to be this bad all season long.
Back-to-back batting
get
champion. That's what he's going to be. He's going to rub it in the Pirates' face.
Other cold hitters, Manny Machado, Brandon Moss, Cole Calhoun isn't hitting well right now. Devin Mesoraco looked bad against the Pirates. Scooter Gennett hasn't hit well. He made an error, K'd 5 times in 10 at-bats. That's pretty much it, though. That's the coldest hitters in baseball right now of people who shouldn't be cold. Let's move on to some hot pitchers. There was a lot of good pitching this first week.
None from the Buccos.
Yeah, Johnny Cueto out-dueling Francisco Liriano with 10 strikeouts over 7, allowing 5 base runners, 4 hits and 1 walk. He looked excellent in his opening season debut.
Yeah, no decision because Liriano pitched very well, too. I didn't put him in here because there was a lot of pitchers that pitched better than Liriano. But Liriano looked very good in that game too, and Cueto ended up with a no decision because of it. A guy that surprises me, Clay Buchholz. 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 walk, 9 Ks at Philly. Now, it is at Philly, who has one of the worst offenses in baseball. But Buchholz looked on his game to start the season.
Oh, when he's healthy, I mean, he's been known to produce results. So, I mean, maybe this is a year he can finally put it all together.
Yeah, maybe he's cheating again. Let's hope so, because he puts up huge numbers when he cheats.
Love cheaters.
Another guy I like too, it was a sleeper for a lot of fantasy owners, is Jake Odorizzi. 6 2/3 innings pitched, just 2 hits and a walk with 7 Ks versus Baltimore, who has a pretty decent offense.
Lance Lynn looked solid in his first start of the season in a loss against the Cubs. You know, he threw 6 innings, allowed 2 hits, walked 1, allowed 1 earned run, and hit a batter, but he struck out 9 during that loss. So a solid outing for him to start the season.
Yeah, Wainwright's on the back of his career a little bit. They really need Lynn to step up this season and take another step forward like he did last year.
Well, he definitely has the stuff to do it.
He does. Now, a thing I really like here is Matt Harvey looked like a beast already on his way back, pitching at Washington, one of the better teams in baseball. 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 walk, 9 Ks from him.
He definitely did, J-Dash. He looked great to start the season, fanning Bryce Harper 3 times. You know, even
Yeah, please believe.
Harper tweeted saying that he was going to be a Cy Young winner.
No surprise from some of these guys, like Scherzer pitched great, King Felix pitched great, David Price pitched great. A couple surprises too, though. Aaron Harang just let up 2 hits in 6.1 innings with 8 Ks and a walk versus Boston, which is a huge surprise.
He's always been an off and on pitcher. You know, I mean, he has been solid at times in his career.
It's surprising, though. He's an old player. He's been not as good later in his career versus one of the better offenses in baseball, it looks like. Came up big. I don't expect it to repeat, though, like you said. And Bartolo Colon had a huge win at Washington as well. Just 3 hits in 6 innings with an earned run, which was a homer, a walk, and 8 Ks.
Is he like 53 years old now? How's he even still pitching?
I don't know. Plus, he's like 400 pounds.
He knows how to control his fastball.
How about Edinson Volquez? 8 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 5 Ks, a walk, a hit batter, and a win versus the White Sox. Huge debut for the Royals for Volquez. He's
I'm
looking
more
good.
impressed that he was allowed to pitch within the first 3 games of the season. I wouldn't let him pitch any of my games.
No, he's a number 3 starter. That's what he is. Can possibly be a number 2 if he keeps pitching like that.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, how about Dallas Keuchel, you know, for the Houston Astros? This is a guy looking to continue building on his success from last season. You know, he threw 7 strong innings, you know, in their win against Cleveland.
Yeah, just 3 hits, 4 Ks, 3 walks. This is the Gold Glove winner at the position from last season. He had a very good year last year. People weren't so sure if he could repeat his success, but it's a good start to the season for him.
Similar for Jake Arrieta, too. He beat St. Louis, and he'd thrown 7 innings, allowing 3 hits, 3 walks, struck out 7. So he's another guy hoping to continue on with his success from last season as well.
Well, if the Cubs want to take a step forward, like everyone believes they will, not only does John Lester have to pitch better than he did this past week, but Arrieta got to pitch like he did last season. Other guys that pitched well this past week is Carlos Carrasco. Scott Kazmir pitched very well, just 1 hit in 7 innings with 10 Ks versus Texas. Trevor Bauer pitched well. He did let up 5 walks in 6 innings, but he did not let up a hit and had 11 Ks. Again, it was at Houston, who looked terrible offensively to start the season. Sonny Gray pitched well, 8 innings pitched, just 1 hit with 3 Ks versus Texas. And that pretty much sums it up for the best pitchers for the first week of baseball. There's a couple pitchers that did not pitch that well that is pretty surprising.
Masahiro Tanaka, a little bit of a rough start for the Yankees. In 4 innings, he allowed 4 earned runs, 2 walks, 5 hits. Struck out 6, but...
Yeah, the 6 Ks isn't too terrible, but his velocity is way down. He already said his velocity is not going to come back. He chose not to have Tommy John surgery, and it might hurt the Yankees pretty bad.
I mean, he wouldn't be pitching if he had the surgery, so is it
Not
really?
yet, but it'd be a lot better when he came back, I think.
Yeah, but right now it wouldn't have changed anything, really.
No, but is the velocity going to come back? He's not so sure it is. Jeff Samardzija looked terrible. 6 innings pitched, 6 hits, 5 earned runs with the jack, 2 hit batters, 3 walks, and just 1 K.
The only bright spot there is he did it against Kansas City, who's a good team, so it's not like the Astros lit him up.
Yeah, KC doesn't have the greatest offense in the world, though, either.
I mean,
they play a lot of
But
small.
Stalkus and
the World
Hosmer
Series
came
last
out
year.
hot. Rios looks pretty good to start the season. But Samardzija, it's surprising to see just 1 K from him. And he was wild. 2 hit batters and 3 walks. That's not great. His walk rate isn't always that great, but 5 runners by either a walk or hits batter is not good at all from him.
Don't get it straight now.
He'll bounce back. Andrew Kashner, got roughed up for 5 earned runs in 5 innings. 3 home runs in his loss to the LA Dodgers.
3 jacks, that's terrible from him. Kashner got to be a big piece to the starting rotation this season for the Padres. And then Kendall Graveman for the Oakland A's made his MLB debut. He had a huge spring, just 1 run in more than 20 innings. Came out 3.1 innings pitched, let up 7 hits, 7 earned runs, a walk, 3 hit batters, and just 1 K versus Texas. Terrible. But I'm not ready to give up on him. He looked like a very good pitcher in the minors and this spring. He's going to improve. Well, he has to improve a little bit. Nobody's that terrible. I think Jim can pitch better than that.
I was a quality pitcher in T-ball. I stood there while the pitching machine fired it all wild, like at the 6-year-old dude standing there trying to hit the ball. You got beaten in the face like 3 times a season in that league. It was horrible. But you still had to stand at the pitcher's mound. It was stupid.
All right, let's move on to some notes from the past week.
I think my Little League stories are better.
The Detroit Tigers took the series against the Twins 3-0 with a combined score of 22-1 in those 3 games.
So you would say they roared to the start of this season?
Well, I mean, they definitely made
If you
Paul
wanna be
Molitor
corny,
feel
yeah.
stupid in his managerial
Hey,
debut.
you're the one who invented the pun, so I don't want to hear it. Dash.
I did invent the pun because I'm a genius.
You're a pun genius.
You just need to use better puns.
My puns are amazing.
Kansas City, Atlanta, Cincinnati, and Colorado all are 3-0.
And the Buccos are 0-3.
Correct. Miami scored 3 runs in 3 games. Minnesota, like you said, just 1 in 3 games. So those 2 offenses need to pick it up. Since the last time we talked baseball, Craig Kimbrell got traded to the Padres for Cameron Maybin and Quinton and a couple prospects. Guess who's closing in Atlanta now?
Jason Grilli
Please believe.
getting it done.
He already has 2 saves. He's looking good.
Brett Cecil's out of the closer's role and 20-year-old Miguel Castro's in. But the move might not be permanent, though, J-Dash.
Yeah, Cecil, he got a late start to the spring. His velocity's not there yet. But let me tell you, Miguel Castro is a monster. He's just 20 years old, I know. But he throws heat. He has control. I wouldn't be surprised if Miguel Castro pitched well enough where he just doesn't give the role back. They also got Roberto Osuna out there, another 20-year-old they're pitching out of the pen, who's pitching late innings for him already, but they want him to be a future starting pitcher, and both these 20-year-olds look great. So Cecil might be out of the closer's role for good, but he is a good pitcher still, so he can get back in if Castro stumbles a little bit.
You know, the one thing that happened this week that I like to take notice of because I like Albert Pujols, he tied Ted Williams, Willie McCovey, and Frank Thomas on the all-time career home run list with 521 home runs.
He's a beast.
Dude's hit, double digits at least his whole career. Probably 20
yeah.
plus, probably almost 10 years in a row.
Before he went to the Angels, he had a 30 home run, 300-plus average streak going on for 10, 12 years.
He's under contract till 2021.
I think that ended his last year at St. Louis.
In St. Louis, yeah.
I think he batted 293 or something.
298
like
or something ridiculous.
He's got Jimmy
Oh, it was
Fox.
299 actually, man.
Yeah. He's got Jimmy Fox with 534 and Mickey Mantle with 536 coming up next.
The Mick.
Definitely get there by probably at least 3/4 of the way through the year. He's not the same guy, but he'll put up 20, 25.
Well, speaking of a lot of home runs, Hanley hit 2 on opening day, had 5 RBIs, and Pedroia hit 2 as well for the Red Sox. So they had 4 homers between them just on opening day. But how about A-Rod homering yesterday, which was Thursday, batting out of the 2-hole?
Love
What's he
it,
have,
dude.
655 career home runs now?
Yeah,
That's correct.
if he ties Willie Mays, the Yankees owe him $6 million. They're trying to get out of paying him, but he's going to get his money.
Well, listen, he was 1 for 6 before that game. In that game, he did hit the jack, but he also K'd twice. He's not back. Don't think he's back and he's going to be a 30 home run hitter. But he can give you 15 to 20 home runs and hit 260, 270 for you.
I think he gets to 30. I bet easy.
I'll put money in on that if you're still taking.
All right. Jake Lamb had 7 RBI in his first 2 games to set the club record for Arizona.
Yeah, for the first 2 games in the season, no one had more than that for Arizona. Jake Lamb, he's just a rookie. Yasmani Tomas was thought to be the starting third baseman during spring. Jake Lamb beat him out, and he started hot. He had a bases clearing double the one game, and then a 3-run homer. He's coming up huge. This is the guy I told you I picked up right before the season started. Someone else dropped him in my fantasy league, and I was pumped. And it's working out for me so far.
I'll tell you what, they need someone like him to step up in Arizona.
Yeah, if they have Goldschmidt on one corner of the infield and Lamb on the other, that's a good start.
That it is.
Devon Travis, second baseman for the Toronto Blue Jays, had a huge opening day and MLB debut for himself. 1 for 2 with a jack, 2 runs, an RBI, and 2 walks. And he hasn't stopped hitting since. He doesn't have another home run or anything yet, but he's been hitting every game so far. And I already looked at my fantasy lineup. He already has a hit today.
Okay, one other thing I want to touch up on. The Houston Astros batting .096 to start the season off.
As a team?
As a team.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Golden. They're going to win the World Series with an average like that.
They can't win the Little League World Series with that.
Not with that chick pitching.
But that's it from around the league over the past week. Let's move on to some DL updates. Let's talk about some guys on the DL. We'll start
Keep
with
it on the down low.
We'll start with hitters. James Loney was placed on the...
That was a great pun. You ignored my pun.
Yeah, it was terrible. I just
it
move
was
on.
awesome. The DL stands for disabled list and down low at the same time. Come on, man.
Anyways, back to the hitters on the DL. James Loney for the Tampa Bay Rays, their first baseman. He hit the DL on Wednesday. Hoping he comes back somewhat soon. They also had to place John Jaso on the DL, their DH / part-time catcher. Now, Rene Rivera is going to be the starting catcher for him. He was to start the season. Jaso was his replacement, but Jaso's their DH, and they really need hitting because they don't have much hitting in Tampa Bay. Both Loney and Jaso already on the DL. It's looking worse already.
Okay, another guy to keep an eye out on is Jason Worth. Worth plans to play 9 innings for High A Potomac on Friday, the Washington Post reported. Worth played 7 innings on Thursday night, going 0 for 2 with a walk. He said afterwards, he was feeling good and then he was hoping to play in as many consecutive games as possible. A lot of people are hoping that he'll be ready to join the Nationals for Sunday's game in Philadelphia, or perhaps even Monday's game at Boston.
J.J. Hardy's almost ready too. They're saying he could be back by this weekend. A couple outfielders on the DL. Hamilton's still there. Josh Hamilton and Coco Crisp are there. They're not coming back too soon yet. Hunter Pence is still on the DL.
Well, he'll be there for a while.
He's not even expected to start swinging a bat for another 5 to 9 days. So he still has a long time of recovery. And SF really needs hitting out there. And he was the biggest part of that. Him and Posey. That's their biggest 2 hitters.
Well, Matt Waiters, has been throwing every other day for about a week now, and there's no timetable for his return. They're going to be keeping him in Florida, making sure he's rehabbing, and he says the intensity of his workouts has actually slowly been picking up. He said it was possible, maybe, that he might be able to return by the start of May, but there's no guarantee. As for now, Caleb Joseph and Ryan Lavrenway will continue to serve as Baltimore's catchers.
Josh Reddick's actually supposed to come off the DL by Saturday, so he'll be back in right field for the A's. They can move Zobrist back to second base where they want to play him. Denard Span's supposed to be back by the end of April, so he still has a little while to go.
Another guy missing time is Anthony Rendon. He's been reported to be doing side-to-side work recently, including some change of direction drills. This is a positive step in his recuperation. He's scheduled to work on some ground balls, but remains a bit of a guessing game because his recovery seems to be going very slowly. And a late April return is probably viewed as his most likely return as of right now. But Yaniel Escobar is going to continue seeing the playing time in his absence.
Let's move on to some starting pitchers. Matt Cain hit the DL for San Francisco, retroactive to April 3rd, so he should be able to come off April 18th, but they're saying that's unlikely. He's going to need a couple more weeks after that, possibly. Cliff Lee, we know, has been on a DL for a while. He's going to be on a DL for a long time. He's actually on a 60-day DL. And then, like you said in the teaser, Jim, Justin Verlander on a DL for the first time in his career.
He's loving it.
Garrett Richards is another guy. For Los Angeles last season, the Angels, he looked like an ace, and he started the season on the DL. He looks to join the rotation in mid to late April, so he's about ready. And they really need him back because he is their best pitcher. Chris Sale's going to return by this Sunday as well. So that's huge for the Chicago White Sox.
Joe Nathan missing some time up in Detroit,
Yeah, he just hit the DL. That means Soria's going to be the closer, and then they have Albuquerque and Jabba Chamberlain as setup men out there. Jenry Mejia, the Mets closer, also hit the DL. That means Familia's going to close. Rafael Montero, the young potential starting pitcher, is going to be the setup man right now.
Josh Johnson on the DL again.
Yeah, he's supposed to actually be coming back somewhat soon. I'm just not so sure he's going to make the rotation. They got a pretty good rotation out there. Maybe if Brandon Morrow stumbles, he'll be in. Homer Bailey's on a DL.
Jake McGee missing some time, affecting Tampa Bay's bullpen right now.
Ryu is on a DL as well for the Dodgers, and he's a huge piece to the rotation. They need to get him back soon. They're thinking not until the beginning of May. Jose Fernandez, obviously one of the best pitchers in baseball. He's recovering from Tommy John. He's going to be more mid-season. Yu Darvish, everybody knows, is done for the season with Tommy John.
How about Brandon Beachy, J-Dash?
I'm liking Beachy. They're saying maybe around the All-Star break with him, maybe a little earlier. But he's a nice sleeper. If you have a DL spot on your fantasy team, go add him. He could be a potential sleeper later in the season.
Chris Medlin, too.
Yeah, Chris Medlin's another one. I was thinking about him. I like Beachy more myself, so I would go him first. But Chris Medlin's always been a good pitcher as well. Drew Smyly for Tampa Bay. They need to get him back.
Yeah, it's something how they still have some good young starters down there in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, he's only supposed to miss 1 or 2 more starts, and then he's going to be joining the rotation. So it shouldn't be too long for him.
Tyler Skaggs out there at Anaheim. The Angels were obviously hoping for him to step up and be a big piece of their rotation.
A couple relievers here. Brandon League is on a DL along with Kenley Jansen for the Dodgers. So they're really hurting at the back end of their bullpen right now. Like you said, Jake McGee.
Sean Marshall also back on the DL again. The guy's actually been...
Sean Doolittle, big-time closer for the Oakland A's, is on a DL still. There's a lot of good relievers on a DL right now.
Luke Chavar.
Like we said, Mejia is on a DL. They also have Bobby Parnell, who closed for a little bit for them, on a DL, and Vic Black's on a DL. So the Mets got 3 good relievers on the DL. All right, let's move on. Usually would do league leaders right now, but there's no sense in going over league leaders. There's 3 games played, 4 for some teams. Who cares who's batting 800 right now?
Oh, I'm batting 1,000.
Adrian Gonzalez.
Corey Hart's leading league.
If the season ended right now, I think Adrian Gonzalez is actually,
MVP?
10 for 13. He gets a triple crown for opening series.
How many RBIs does he have?
7.
Oh, Jake Lamb's tied with him at least.
Yeah.
But let's go over 2 prospects. We're going to do 2 prospects each week, a hitter and a pitcher. We'll start with the big names since this is the first segment. We're going to go with Chris Bryant from the Chicago Cubs as the hitter. Third baseman, just 23 years old.
Had a tremendous spring.
Huge spring. What do you have, 9 home runs or something? And that power's for real. You look, in 2014, he had 43 jacks and 110 RBIs. He took 86 walks, but he did have 162 Ks and 492 at-bats. So that is his one downside, because he can hit for average, he can hit for huge power, but is the average going to be there in the bigs considering how much he Ks?
Well, you got to look at his walk rate.
Yeah, that's the one key to me.
Well, I mean, it just shows plate discipline, that's all. I mean, a lot of people criticize Joey Votto for being too selective. You know, this guy just flat out mashes. He don't care at all.
Two different ends of the spectrum for sure.
Yeah, there was a little bit of an outcry, too, whenever Chicago sent him down to start the season.
Yeah, you look though. He only had 244 at-bats in AAA in 2014. He's played one game in 2015 so far. They just started the season yesterday. He did have an RBI, went 1 for 4. But I understand, he needs to play good defense too. They're not even sure if he can stick at third base. He might end up in the outfield. But this is the premier hitter in the minor leagues, and he should be a power hitter for a long time. But I'm not so sure he's going to be a 300 hitter, maybe more of a 270 hitter. But
Maybe.
Still have a high on base because of all the walks.
Definitely something to look forward to for this season.
Yeah, he's already owned in 100% of fantasy leagues. People are just waiting for him. Let's move on to the pitcher, Jon Gray from the Colorado Rockies. He was drafted in the first round in 2013. He's 6'4", 235 pounds, 23 years old. Now, he didn't have the greatest debut in the minors after they drafted him. Well, he looked real good in A advance for a short period of time. But in rookie ball, he didn't pitch too great. And then last season in 2014, he had just a 3.91 ERA, 124.1 innings, had 113 Ks and 41 walks. Nothing too special out of him, but he's still learning. I think this is going to be a dominant pitcher. But pitching in Colorado, it's going to be tough because he's not a ground ball pitcher.
Well, he does have that straight gas, that's for sure. He's been clocked as high as 100 miles an hour, and
you look, he already pitched the first game of the minor league season. 4 innings, 8 hits, 5 earned runs, 4 strikeouts. He had 1 walk, but they hit 400 off of him. So it's a bad start to the season for him.
Well, didn't they limit the number of sliders he was throwing last year whenever he was pitching?
Yeah, he didn't have his full arsenal last season, but he was actually not expected. There was the possibility he could have made the team out of camp. He pitched well until his final start. He got blown up, so they decided to put him in the minors. But both him and Bryant, if they wait 2 weeks to call them up, they have control of them for another full season. So you could see both of these guys coming up anytime after 2 weeks from now.
Well, I think it's going to be a little bit longer for Jon Gray. I mean, we'll definitely see Chris Bryant before we see Jon Gray.
I believe so too, especially you look, he already got blown up in his first start. He needs to pitch well if he wants called up. It could be later this season, or if Colorado's pitching staff pitches like they have this first series. Eddie Butler looked pretty decent. Jon Gray might not even make an appearance until September.
Well, I mean, that's your best bet. I mean, I personally want him to get experience. I want him to get his arm built up.
Right.
You know, before he tries to handle the rigors of that Major League Baseball season.
The one good thing about him, though, is he did go to college. He's not a guy that was drafted young. He went to Oklahoma, and they expect him to be to go through the system very quick, and they already expected him to be ready for the bigs. So it's been a little bit of a delay for him.
I want to thank you guys for coming in studio, and thank you fans for listening. You could follow us on Twitter at bet_the_spread. You could follow me on Twitter at betjimtowin. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to that YouTube channel. Keep coming back. We'll keep giving you that baseball info.